is cold.
Impossible. We have strict rules in place that forbid this.
Greatest warrior that the world has ever known.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The world of superheroes has always thrived on reinvention, and Aztec Batman, Clash of Empires stands out as one of the most daring, visually striking, and culturally rich reimaginings of the Batman legend ever attempted. Instead of the familiar Gothic streets of Gotham, this story takes place centuries in the past, deep within the heart of Mesoamerica, where mythology and empire collide. The movie brings a bold concept to life. What if the Dark Knight wasn't born in modern times, but during the height of the Aztec civilization? What if Batman's mission for justice was shaped not by crime and corruption in a city of skyscrapers, but by gods, conquest, and ancient empires at war? At its core, Aztec Batman, Clash of Empires tells the story of a warrior destined to become the protector of his people, wrapped in legend and shrouded in myth. The man beneath the mask is Yohualli Coatl, a young Aztec man whose peaceful life is shattered when Spanish conquistadors invade his homeland, bringing destruction, greed, and death. The film explores how tragedy transforms him into a symbol, not of vengeance in the night, but of divine justice. He becomes a figure feared by both the invaders and his own people, a dark guardian who channels the spirit of bats, long seen as messengers of the underworld in Aztec mythology. This isn't just another superhero story. It's a cultural epic that blends history, legend, and the timeless theme of justice against oppression. The movie's tone is strikingly different from typical superhero fare. It mixes the mythic scope of historical epics with the intensity and mystery of Batman's persona. Instead of gadgets and Batmobiles, we see ritual armor, obsidian blades, and symbolic weapons inspired by Aztec craftsmanship. The film's world is alive with ritual and belief, temples lit by torches, jungles whispering with unseen spirits, and skies heavy with prophecy. Every frame feels like a painting brought to life, capturing the vibrant colors, intricate costumes, and sacred traditions of pre-Columbian culture. The setting allows the filmmakers to explore Batman's themes of fear and duality in a completely new way. Through the lens of faith, power, and colonial conflict, Yohualli's transformation into Batman is both physical and spiritual. After losing his father, a local leader murdered by conquistadors, he flees into the jungle, wounded and hunted. There, he encounters a temple dedicated to the bat god Camazotz, a deity often associated with death, sacrifice, and the night. In a mystical sequence, Yohualli undergoes a ritual that blurs the line between man and God, reborn as a symbol of vengeance. When he returns, he wears armor fashioned in the image of the bat god, combining traditional Aztec motifs with the dark, intimidating silhouette that echoes the Batman we know. But this Batman isn't just about vengeance, he becomes a myth himself, a story whispered among villagers and soldiers alike, a living embodiment of resistance against an empire. The film's conflict centers on the collision between two worlds, the indigenous empires of the Americas and the invading forces of Europe. The title Clash of Empires isn't just about physical conquest. It's about the clash of ideologies, beliefs, and destinies. The conquistadors, led by a ruthless commander inspired by historical figures like Hernan Cortes, represent the arrogance and cruelty of imperial expansion. Yet the film doesn't portray them as one-dimensional villains. It explores the moral complexity of both sides. The Aztec Empire itself, known for its own history of conquest and sacrifice, is not shown as purely heroic. This nuanced storytelling gives depth to the conflict, grounding it in the real human struggle for power, faith, and survival. The cast brings extraordinary talent to this vision. Tenoch, known for his powerful screen presence and intensity, portrays Yohualli Coatl with a mix of raw emotion and quiet strength. His performance captures both the vulnerability of a man driven by loss and the unshakable determination of a warrior chosen by destiny. His Batman feels primal, ancient, and deeply spiritual, less a man in a costume and more a living embodiment of divine retribution. The film also features strong supporting roles, including a high priestess who guides Yohualli on his spiritual journey, a young warrior who questions his loyalty to the empire, and a Spanish captain haunted by guilt over his part in the conquest. Each character adds to the film's tapestry of cultures, beliefs, and moral choices. Visually, Aztec Batman, Clash of Empires is expected to be breathtaking. The filmmakers use a mix of handcrafted sets and modern visual effects to recreate ancient Tenochtitlan in all its glory, from its sprawling temples and bustling marketplaces to the surrounding jungles and rivers that frame the story's mythic tone. The film's color palette draws from natural dyes, gold, obsidian, and blood. Rich reds, deep blacks, and vibrant turquoise dominate the visual language. Every costume, every weapon, and every ritual is designed to honor historical authenticity while merging it with the stylized drama of superhero storytelling. The visual contrast between the invading European armor and the vibrant Aztec regalia highlights the deeper symbolic clash between two worlds, one driven by conquest, the other by faith and survival. The emotional core of the film rests on Yohualli's internal conflict. While he seeks vengeance for his father's death, he struggles with the moral weight of his mission. Is he truly chosen by the gods, or has grief turned him into a monster? This question echoes the psychological depth of the traditional Batman stories, but through a cultural lens that explores spirituality and destiny. The line between human and divine becomes blurred, and the film invites viewers to question the meaning of justice itself. In a land where sacrifice was seen as a sacred duty, Batman's actions take on new symbolism. Every life he spares or takes becomes part of a greater ritual of balance between life and death. The musical score plays a major role in setting the mood. It combines traditional Aztec instruments like drums, flutes, and shell trumpets with orchestral and modern cinematic tones. The music captures both the spiritual majesty of the setting and the emotional intensity of Batman's journey. During moments of action, the rhythm feels primal and thunderous, while quieter scenes carry haunting chants and ancient melodies that immerse the audience in a world where myth and reality intertwine. This blending of ancient sound with modern composition mirrors the film's entire identity, rooted in tradition but reimagined through a contemporary lens. As the story unfolds, the stakes rise dramatically. The conquistador's arrival sparks rebellion and chaos. Yohualli must unite warring tribes under a single cause, but doing so means embracing a mantle that could cost him his humanity. His legend spreads as the Bat-God's chosen warrior, and soon both the indigenous people and the invaders begin to fear the symbol he has become. The climax builds toward a massive confrontation between Yohualli's forces and the Spanish army, set against the burning temples of a collapsing city. Yet even amid the chaos, the story remains deeply personal, a battle not just for freedom, but for the soul of a man torn between rage and redemption. The relationship between Yohualli and the gods plays a critical role throughout the film. Unlike the typical Batman's reliance on intellect and technology, this version's strength is rooted in belief and spiritual connection. There are moments where the line between hallucination and divine intervention blurs, as Yohualli receives visions from the Bat-God guiding him toward his destiny. These mystical elements give the film a mythological weight, turning Batman's mission into something almost sacred. He becomes both a warrior and a prophet, carrying the weight of an entire civilization's hopes on his shoulders. The cultural significance of Aztec Batman, Clash of Empires cannot be overstated. It represents one of the first times a major superhero story has been fully reimagined through an indigenous and Mesoamerican lens. The film honors the traditions, beliefs, and art of pre-Columbian Mexico while using the universal language of heroism to bridge cultures. It celebrates indigenous identity and resilience, transforming one of pop culture's most iconic figures into a symbol of resistance and cultural pride. It's more than a film, it's a reawakening of myth in modern storytelling, reminding audiences that legends can be reborn in any time or place. From a production standpoint, the film has been years in the making. The creators aim to blend authentic historical research with the stylized, emotional storytelling of animation and live-action fusion. The result is a film that looks both ancient and futuristic, a myth retold with modern cinematic power. The project's visual team reportedly spent extensive time studying Aztec architecture, codices, and art to ensure that every visual element feels authentic. The attention to detail extends to language as well, with portions of the dialogue spoken in Nahuatl, the native tongue of the Aztec Empire. Giving the story an extra layer of cultural depth and realism, the voice performances and character portrayals elevate the story even further. Tenochtitlan brings both gravity and humanity to the role, making Yohualli's journey deeply moving. The antagonist, a Spanish general obsessed with power and gold, serves as the perfect counterpoint, a man who believes his conquest is divine destiny, mirroring Batman's own struggle with fate. The film's secondary characters, including Yohualli's mentor, a wise shaman who understands the balance between gods and men, add emotional richness and philosophical reflection.